Thank you for reaching out to learn about the profession of independent real estate agent through Valadié Immobilier agency. I've prepared a short audio summary in a Q&A format to clarify your many questions before you embark on this exciting journey, which is certainly accessible, but also requires hard work, determination, and a strong network. First of all, it's important to distinguish between the different real estate professions. So, what are the professions in real estate? The world of real estate is vast, and there are many different jobs within it. The main ones are as follows: real estate transactions, which is what we're focusing on here. That is, the sale of houses, apartments, and land. There's also property management, which means managing real estate assets on behalf of owners. This involves collecting rent, handling interactions with tenants, and managing claims or maintenance work. There's also the condominium manager, which is the real estate profession that organizes the regulations for buildings shared by several owners, budgets for cleaning, and maintenance of common areas, for example. There's also the profession of real estate development, which involves building properties to resell them either unit by unit or as a whole. There are also property traders who buy properties, renovate them, and then resell them to make a profit. Finally, there are builders of single-family homes and land developers who create houses or housing estates. The profession we're focusing on here is real estate brokerage. But what does it mean to be a real estate agent? Being a real estate agent means connecting supply and demand for the benefit of clients who are looking for a house on one side and sellers who want to part with their properties on the other. Your daily work will involve finding properties for sale, entering these same properties into the software. That is, taking on listings, taking photos of the property, preparing commercial descriptions, collecting documents related to the property such as title deeds, property tax statements, cadastral plans, showing the properties, passing on purchase offers to the seller, and negotiating them in order to finalize a sale. Next, you will need to send the required file with the accepted offers to the notary so that they can draft the preliminary sales agreement and then the official deed. You will also need to know the steps of the notarial procedure so you can inform and assist your clients if they have any questions, regardless of the type of file, whenever you have one. Each file is different, with varying levels of complexity. You're talking about complexity, and that's what scares me a little. I imagine there are some fundamental concepts to know in law, urban planning, and construction. Can I get started without any knowledge at all? You can absolutely get started without any knowledge, as long as you are under contract with a real estate agency. But a reputable real estate agency will never let you start without at least some initial training. That's actually what we do with all the agents who join our network. We have them take an intensive basic training that lasts 3 full days at our headquarters. This training includes both a theoretical part and a practical part. If necessary, it can be extended. What seems most important to us is not just taking the training. Above all, it's that at the end of the training, the people who have completed the course feel completely confident to tackle fieldwork on their own. You can, in 3 days, teach a profession that requires years of higher education and degrees. But that's impossible. Absolutely, you're right. It's impossible. And that's not what we do or what we claim to do. To get started in real estate, you need to have both theoretical and practical foundations in the profession. The rest is learned gradually, throughout the real estate agent's career. And our role is to be available at any time, whether online or by phone, to help the salespeople who need it. So, you don't necessarily need to have knowledge of real estate law or family law to get off to a good start. How can you start out confidently with some training, but without having absorbed all those years of knowledge? Having some knowledge of real estate law is a plus, but it's far from being the most important thing to start off right when you want to become an independent sales agent. The main point for getting off to a good start is breaking down the process into business phases, of which there are 3: Phase A, Phase B, and Phase C. Phase A corresponds to the visibility of the property. Phase B corresponds to the negotiation of the property. Phase C corresponds to the sale of the property. Contrary to what most people who want to embark on this adventure think, from the very beginning and for at least the first 4 months of your activity, you should focus exclusively on Phase A. This is the simplest and most enjoyable part of the job. Phase A, that is, the visibility of the property, involves finding properties for sale and getting sales mandates signed. These are the documents that allow you to sell between yourself and the owner. Gather the technical details of the property, such as the type of sanitation, insulation, the property's surface area, create the commercial descriptions, take photos, post the property online, and then show it to potential buyers. Clearly, this is what the core of your job will be for the first 4 months. Build your property portfolio, that's Phase A, and stick strictly to these steps. I will explain all the steps of this phase in detail in a future video that I will send you. Alright, but it seems complicated to get properties for sale when you're starting out in a job you don't know, in a market you know even less, and without an existing property portfolio. Absolutely. It's a big personal and professional challenge. That's why I emphasized at the beginning the need for hard work and determination. This is where the most important aspect of this job comes in, the keystone of the model that will make you successful. It's the network. The most important aspect when starting out as an independent real estate agent is the network. It's really the network that will be the pillar of your success in this profession. In fact, it's on this main foundation that all our methods are based, and that's what will make you a better real estate agent than the others. You really need to keep in mind that this profession has become very competitive. We're in a mature market, and everyone is getting into real estate. There's no more room, or at least, there's no room for people who don't leverage their direct or indirect network. The canvassing and real estate prospecting methods from the 2010s up to today have become too aggressive and overused. You need to start, do it now, with finesse and trust, rather than focusing on volume and aggressiveness, which is still done far too much. The classic cold calling methods, that is, calling private real estate ads online to get sales mandates, no longer work at all. On the contrary, they're now seen very negatively by many people and are considered too intrusive. Yet, 80% of real estate agents still use these methods. And when they call at 8 in the morning, they're already the 10th agent to be told, "We don't want an agency." The same goes for voidage, which means dropping off paper ads in the mailboxes of every house within a certain area. It's a wonderful way to waste time and paper. They'll end up in the trash along with the flyers from big chains that the customers haven't read either. I'm not saying these methods should be ruled out, but they're outdated and shouldn't be your main focus. Your network is the key. So, from what you're saying, everything should be based on the network, or rather, our network. But what exactly do you mean by that? How do you go about it? I don't know anyone around me who wants to sell their house. Unless you've just come back from Mars or a long trip in the jungle, it's likely that even if you're not currently working, you still have a network through the people around you. Family, friends, colleagues, shopkeepers you see regularly. That's your direct network. Then, there's the indirect network. These are all the acquaintances of your network, to whom the members of your network might give leads or recommendations based on one essential value, trust. Maybe today, it's true, you don't know anyone who's selling a property. But if you start tomorrow by asking everyone around you that you meet during the day, I can guarantee you 100% that you'll find your first property for sale thanks to a simple conversation with family or friends. Next, you need to activate this network, meaning you have to work on both your direct and indirect networks. Activating the indirect network isn't something complicated to do. It works on trust and recommendation. But it's this extended bond of trust that will allow you to get plenty of contacts through simple everyday conversations. Ask people to play along for you. There's nothing wrong with that. To your uncle who lives in the same city as you. Uncle, could you take 10 minutes tonight, please, and send me an email with the names and numbers of people you know who might want to sell their house? Similarly, through your uncle's friends, your indirect network. Could you please pick 5 close friends and ask them by email if they know anyone around them who might be selling or looking for a house? And can you forward them to me? Can you please forward me the responses? Tell them it's for me. I'm getting into real estate. By doing this with all the members of your network, both direct and indirect, you'll see that you'll very quickly start building up a portfolio of properties. Indeed, that could pay off, but if my network is limited, what other methods are there to find a property for sale? As I mentioned earlier, the key to getting properties for sale is subtlety. Besides networking, there's a fundamental method that no one uses, but it's full of finesse and incredibly effective. It's cold calling. What's astonishing is that this method is the most effective, the simplest, and it doesn't cost anything, but no one does it, simply because people are afraid to try. In a nutshell, cold calling is just asking someone on the street, "Do you know of any houses for sale around here?" Just like you would ask, "Do you know a bakery around here?" It's as simple as that. And it works much better than you'd think. It's a real goldmine for leads on properties for sale. If you're polite and you smile, people will never be rude to you. At worst, they'll just say, "Sorry, I don't know." Besides, you'll notice that people are very talkative and naturally tend to want to help others. They'll give you a valuable set of information. They'll point out a house in the distance, give you directions, or even a name to look up in the directory for a particular town. Often, the people who give you tips about properties for sale don't want to be mentioned or exposed. They often end their sentence with, "But don't say I was the one who told you." Obviously, you need to respect their anonymity, and as soon as you go to the place or contact potential sellers, use the following line: "Hello, I heard that you were selling your house. I might be interested." If the person says no, you can roll the dice again by replying, "Sorry, it must be a mistake, but do you happen to know of any other houses for sale in the area?" And you'll see that people will start talking very quickly. Every time you do some spontaneous canvassing, go for a neutral approach. There's no need to say that you're a real estate agent. Usually, no one will ask you. If they do, you can say it's for someone you know who's looking, meaning a potential client. Or you can be transparent and say that you are a real estate agent. But it's better to show your real estate agent card to your final contact. That is, once you've managed to build enough rapport with them. Remember, the key word is subtlety. It seems like a good method, in addition to networking. It's true that it really opens up a lot more opportunities to get properties for sale, indeed. There's challenge and relationship building. It's interesting, but I'm a bit afraid of feeling alone, like I'm on my own in this adventure. It is indeed a profession that's often seen as a solitary one, but when it comes to that, there are no hard rules and you'll quickly find company. First of all, you're not alone, because you're part of a family group where I place special importance on support and guidance, whether it's over the phone or via video call. I spend a lot of time each week motivating the teams, helping them, guiding them, whatever their commercial, legal, or technical needs may be. Next, you'll see that you'll quickly be surrounded by people whose professions revolve around yours, who step in at specific points in the process. These include inspectors, building professionals, bankers, brokers, notaries, and sometimes photographers. But even so, there can definitely be moments of professional solitude. When you're used to working in large groups, as part of a team, and suddenly you find yourself alone and self-employed overnight, it's not necessarily easy. You can then try to embark on the adventure with someone else, that is, as a duo. I have several people on the team who chose to do this, and they're very happy with it. They work in pairs, bring in business together, share the same file with a similar work pace, and in the end, they split the profits from their sales 50-50. Ideally, you should do this as a couple or with someone you know very well, especially in terms of temperament and work abilities. But if the partnership is well balanced, then satisfaction and enjoyment are guaranteed. The profits are shared and productivity is multiplied. So you can suggest this challenge to a friend who is currently asking themselves the same questions as you. You'll motivate and support each other at every stage of your launch, and maybe even throughout your career. It's true that, seen this way, ending loneliness can be really motivating when you're with someone. But what if I find someone who's interested, but already has another job and isn't ready to leave it? Working and being a real estate sales agent aren't incompatible, but it's a matter of organization and discipline. Obviously, you can't do both at 100%. You need to get organized and figure out what portion of your total working time you're able to dedicate to real estate. What I recommend to people who want to keep their permanent or fixed-term contract while getting into real estate is to be prepared for longer days. Then, gradually shift from one to the other if you see that real estate is starting to pay off for you, and eventually devote all your time to real estate if this activity really takes off. Whether you're currently working or not, starting out in real estate as an independent isn't incompatible, and you can legally do both. You can also get started in real estate while you're unemployed, without losing your unemployment benefits, as long as you're not earning any income yet. The only restriction is that you can't work for another real estate agency in the same geographic area where you're already active. That just doesn't make sense, and it's not done. That's pretty well explained, and I have to say, everything you just told me really motivates me to get started. What's the process to sign up and get started now? You can become a real estate sales agent as soon as today, if you want, very easily by setting up as a self-employed entrepreneur in real estate. The administrative procedure isn't complicated. You just need to have a commercial agent contract with the real estate agency in question, then fill out the required SURFA administrative forms with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the company's registered office where you'll be working. You'll also need to pay a fee of about €80 to the relevant authorities and take out professional liability insurance, which covers you in case of any damage while carrying out your work. The full details of the procedure and pre-filled documents are available on our real estate agency's website or by email. So I can sign a contract with you today and get started. That's awesome. But by the way, we've talked a lot about the profession, but could you tell me a bit more about your agency? Yes, of course. Valadié Immobilier is a family-run real estate group that was founded in 1960 in Valadié. The company is now also present in Dordogne and in Lot in Gironde. We make it a point to maintain high-quality working methods, with special emphasis on building strong relationships with our clients and their notaries. We are, and will remain, real estate craftsmen, so we can perfectly adapt to the needs of our sellers and buyers. We are in a phase of expansion and want to strengthen our sales force throughout Nouvelle-Aquitaine and all of France. We recruit and train independent agents whom we carefully select and to whom we pass on our professional expertise, so that they themselves become excellent property sellers and can practice this profession, regardless of their initial background or where they are located. How much can I expect to earn each month, and how does the compensation work with your real estate agency? Most real estate agencies that do mass recruitment will try to make you believe that you'll earn money quickly and in large amounts. That information is false. First of all, you need to know that if you make a sale today, really today, you won't actually receive the money for at least 3 months. That's the time it takes for the notary to draw up the preliminary sales agreement, for preemption rights to be cleared, for all legal obligations to be fulfilled, and for the sale funds to be properly transferred to the notary so the deed can be signed. So there's an unavoidable initial waiting period that takes some time. These same agencies will try to make you believe that, thanks to them, you'll be able to earn up to 80, 90, or even 100% of the total agency commission with their so-called miraculous model. Once again, these are misleading models where the salespeople are actually the product of the agency. In these groups, the sales agents who join have to pay fees right from the start, which cover training, software, website access, and the brand. These fees cost around 1 to 200 euros per month. Meanwhile, you're not making any sales. You have to cover your expenses, all your operating costs, and on top of that, give money to a real estate broker group every month, sometimes with a commitment. During the first 6 months, let's say you don't make any sales, you'll have spent 600 euros in the best-case scenario and still haven't earned anything. Eventually, you'll run out of cash and decide to quit. In the end, you'll have made a real estate group richer by bringing in listings and buyer clients. And above all, with your own personal financial contributions. As for our real estate agency, we offer realistic models. With us, sales agents who work without an office can earn up to 60% of the agency commission. This amount is split into 40% for the sellers you bring in and 20% for the buyers. This breakdown, 60% for sellers, 40% for buyers, is applied in tight markets, in sellers' markets. These are markets like Bordeaux or the Arcachon Bay Area, for example. In less competitive areas, like in the countryside where buyers are in the majority, in other words, where they drive the market, the values are different. 30% for the seller, 30% of the commission for the buyer. In addition, we do not charge any fees, membership dues, or royalties for being part of our team. It's completely free. So you can earn 60% of a real estate agency commission. On average, this amounts to somewhere between 9,000 and 15,000 euros. As we mentioned earlier, while the commercial process is getting set up, you won't earn anything in the first few months, but you will be building your business portfolio. If you manage to bring in quality properties, you could very quickly make 1 or 2 sales per month, which could allow you to earn a comfortable living from real estate over the course of a year, all while being completely independent. How does the payment of my commission actually work? Once you have signed the official deed of sale at the notary's office, you send the real estate agency's bank details to the notary's office. The notary's office then transfers the full commission to the real estate agency's bank account. Once the funds are received, the agency transfers the amount owed to you into your bank account, following an invoice you will have issued to the agency detailing your fees, either excluding tax or including all taxes, depending on the tax model you chose when you registered as a real estate agent with the prefecture. Are there any targets to meet? What happens if you don't meet them? There are no disqualifying targets to meet with us. If you don't make any sales, then you just don't make any sales. You'll be the first one affected by that situation. On the other hand, there are bonus thresholds. If you reach them, you can earn additional compensation in the form of a bonus as a reward. If you exceed 30,000 euros excluding tax and billed revenue to the agency over a fiscal year, you receive a bonus of 3% of your total annual revenue. What personal equipment do I need to get started? Once you're registered and under contract, you'll need a driver's license, Category B, and a car. That's part of our prerequisites. However, if you're working in an urban area and you have a two-wheeler, you can do without a car and a Category B license. So first, you need a means of transportation. Next, a smartphone with a phone line. Most independent sales agents use the same line as their usual personal number, on which they add a personalized voicemail message. A desktop or laptop computer, preferably with a webcam for video conferences and training sessions, and a working internet connection. A camera, since smartphones now have one, that will be perfect. The smartphone camera is perfect for this kind of real estate photography and also for videos. Finally, you'll need a printer. This is necessary to print at least the contracts and administrative documents that you need to have the client sign. What does your agency provide? To help you get started as a sales agent with us, the agency provides client and business management software and a smartphone app. The software is called Silicium. You will also receive business cards. The agency offers you an initial batch of 250 cards for free. You'll also need a photo to put on your business cards. Commercial folders, which are document holders to give to your clients. A laser measurer will be provided so you can take optical measurements of the houses you show. Professional ad credits will be made available to give your listings more visibility. This is funded by the agency. It is available on the platforms Lebencoin with 5 ads and Avandra Allauer also with 5 ads. You will also have 5 for sale signs to put up on houses when you get a listing. Next, you will also have access to a complete set of legal and administrative documents for your work. Mandates, amendments, visit reports, offer to purchase documents, offer to sell, email templates, buyer and seller documents, and many other documents. Ongoing training in the form of telephone support, available whenever you need it and whenever you want, will also be provided and is part of the resources available to help you get started. Is it possible to work at the same time in another real estate agency? As we mentioned earlier, it is forbidden to work in another real estate agency at the same time while you are employed by our company. However, it is possible to have a secondary activity. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have a side job, like selling wine, for example. You just need to make sure it's not the same type of activity. When can you start the training to learn the basics of being a real estate agent? Starting today, if you want. In fact, I think that's why we're here. So if everything is good for you and you're ready to learn more, we can start getting into the heart of the matter with the complete training on the commercial and legal basics of real estate. We will also look at best practices as well as the pitfalls and mistakes to avoid, whether with buyers or sellers, and also how to confidently handle the tough competitive environment that awaits you.